Okay, well, good afternoon. Actually, this was not intended to be all that formal, but just to say that we're very pleased with the fact that we had a conversation in the Security Council on the DPRK, again, based on my Dutch colleagues reporting back from the excellent work that he's been doing from the Sanctions Committee perspective. I want to say, because this is an important issue, both from world politics but also in terms of humanitarian work. We are very committed, and we stand firmly behind the sanctions on the DPRK in accordance with the Council resolutions. And we believe that it's absolutely key that all members implement those sanctions faithfully and in a rigid and rigorous way. We believe that the Council has shown strong resolve and unity on the DPRK issue, and that has contributed to the momentum that we've seen over the last year. Of course, that momentum is not enough in terms of implementing the resolution and the Security Council's demands that there be denuclearization in a peaceful way on the peninsula. But we were also informed today, and we had asked OCHA to come to the Security Council to give us an update about the humanitarian situation in North Korea. And that situation is dire. There's no question that the main responsibility for that situation rests with the government of North Korea. But that does not take away the responsibility in North Korea, as in any other country, for the international community to do its best and its utmost to provide life-saving support for the population. So DPRK is no exception or no exemption in that regard. Now, we know that the humanitarian needs are enormous, and that was reiterated by OCHA today. And despite the humanitarian exemptions that exist inside the resolutions, in the sanctions regime, there are still reports of adverse, indirect impacts of the sanctions on the humanitarian situation. So that was the reason why we had asked for this OCHA to be here today. And it was stressed in that briefing that it is possible to deliver humanitarian aid in a way that protects the humanitarian, the independence, the integrity of that support without deviation for dual-use purposes, etc. And that is also our experience. The Swedish aid agency is operating there, and we are a huge donor supporting many international and NGOs who are operating in that difficult circumstances. But it's important to understand that the projects that are being implemented are monitored so as to avoid diversions. And it's also important to understand that most of the funds that are being spent are actually spent outside the DPRK, outside the country. So that also limits the risk of any embezzlement or diversion. The goods entering the country are, as I said, subject to close monitoring, which was confirmed today by OCHA. And we believe that the humanitarian support should continue to focus on the most vulnerable, children, pregnant women, and sectors such as water, sanitation, and nutrition, as they are today. We are concerned that the chronic underfunding of humanitarian support is hampering this humanitarian effort. So we've also urged, and I do it again, urged all countries to come in with financial support to OCHA and the agencies that are operating in the DPRK and elsewhere. And finally, I just want to say that we believe that further efforts needs to be done. In spite of the very good efforts of the Dutch presidency, we believe that the process is still a bit cumbersome when it comes to allowing these exemptions. We know that humanitarian agencies are concerned about the delays in the committee for approving these exemptions, and therefore we are aware of some suggestions, including on facilitating a certain amount of products, certain quality of products, banking and customs regulations, etc., in order to facilitate this work. No one is supporting sanctions that are hurting the civilian population. And I think that everyone in the Security Council is keen to ensure that we do the best we can to ensure that, the people get the kind of support they want. So we are hopeful, but we do believe that there is work to be done still in order to improve the way we operate under these circumstances.
Ambassador, can you say anything about the Yemen negotiations that may be taking place in Sweden in December? What timing are you hopeful?
No, I can only say that my foreign minister has offered my country as a venue for that political conversation. But as to the timing and the contents and all that, it's left to the special envoy, Martin Griffiths, and we support his efforts wholeheartedly.
Would a new resolution be better before or after those peace talks in the view of Sweden?
Look, the situation is the following on the resolution. As you know, you heard the debate we had, I believe, on Friday with OCHA coming back again and the special envoy about the situation both in the political track and the humanitarian concerns that we all share, and the ideas provided at that meeting that maybe there should be a resolution. Work is being done on that resolution, and talks are ongoing inside the Security Council about the substance, the contents, and the timing of that resolution. That's all I can say for now.
Are there any disagreements regarding the resolution? Could you put us more in?
No, I cannot. I cannot. Yes.
What is the responsibility?
Sorry, just to hear first, and then.
On North Korea, how much of a role? How much? The U.S. has sort of blocked certain humanitarian exemptions. How much is that to blame for some of this situation? And when you say there's more work to be done, what are you suggesting?
Well, there are suggestions in terms of just if you could provide blanket exemptions for certain products, then that would be easier. There are issues about banking and customs. That's more relating to countries that are closer to the DPRK than the United States. So there are issues that can be, we believe, improved, and there are ideas to that effect, and we're just asking everyone to look constructively to implementing that. On the U.S., your question is whether they are...
Well, they were delaying some of the requests for exemptions.
Well, this is internal Sanctions Committee deliberation, so I don't want to comment on individual member states. But we certainly believe that, we believe that there is effective monitoring on the ground, and therefore we should probably be able to step back in terms of not being too concerned in the Sanctions Committee about these exemptions.
Human Rights Rapporteur Quintana, more than a year ago, expressed concern about the fact that cancer medication chemotherapy was not getting to cancer patients. A lot of important medical equipment is being blocked because this is over a year now. Why is the Security Council failing, and it is failing, to push forward these humanitarian aid programs more effectively?
Well, I think that's why I wanted to talk to you today, and that's why we asked for this meeting today. We've been working on this since we joined the Security Council, that, as you know, Sweden has insisted that there be these humanitarian exemptions and that there also then be effectively implemented. I think there are some improvements that can be done, but on the whole, as I said, aid is coming through. It's being delivered under certain monitoring conditions on the ground, so I don't think we should be too concerned about holding back, but certainly more can be done.
Slightly more specific, you say there's a grim picture come from OCHA. What actually are the concerns going forward? Are we talking famine? What could you be a bit more specific of the areas that are of concern?
I would ask you to look to OCHA to explain that, but it was quite explicit today about where the problems lie, and they include undernourishment, stunting, and such. But as I said, the main responsibility here, of course, rests with the government. To invest much more in the well-being of their own population. But our concern is that in addition to that ask, there is also a need to look at the sanctions not having collateral damage to the civilian population. Thank you very much.